So today I'm gonna talk about red guys and blue guys, not about the ones you know about some ones I know about Ryuho and Kazuma, the main characters of a show called S. Crying. I like the show a lot. I'm not gonna talk about the show story. I think it's a 7 out of 10. It's kind of mid. It's give or take. It could be better. It could be worse. I like the story, but I think out of any red guy, blue guy, out of the Vegetas and the Naruto's and the Sasuke's and the Deku, I think this red guy, blue guy, this red oni, blue oni, this is probably my favorite of all time. And I think the reason that's because it kind of doesn't lose a trope that I'm going to talk about later in this video, the tiger versus dragon aspect of the red oni, blue oni, right? If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm going to explain. Red oni, blue oni is a trope where basically the red guy is the more passionate, more like driven, fiery character, while the blue character is the more cut and dry, very, very precise, very like, ooh, get to the point, we're getting there. I do this for justice. And it's the dichotomy between those two characters. It's not always defined by their actual beliefs in the story, but just by their personalities. The red guy is just somebody who's more emotional, more passionate, openly, while the blue guy is kind of the opposite. In a lot of cases, you can consider that like the narrative lancer or the foil, right? The character that bounces off the red guy. The reason that I'm talking about this right now is just because when you think about anime, especially shonen anime that's targeted at young boys, teenagers in general, you think about pretty much any action show. Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, you name an action show, I could probably tell you there's a red oni, blue oni, right? The main characters, at least the main two, the leading two, usually it comes down to a fiery one who is the main character, and a more quiet or at least a more controlled and calm blue guy, right? And even if there's like it's a 5-man band, these two are going to be present and these two are going to have the most influence on the other. Like their storylines are always going to be connected. They're always going to be intertwined, if that makes sense, right? The thing that I think makes a red oni, blue oni interesting is how they play off one of another, right? One another, and their whole not aspect, but their whole dichotomy is made up of just how they are related to one another. They might not be related to each other like as people, but it's just when they first meet, it's that you are different from me, so therefore we must not like each other. And then how they seem to coexist as the story progresses, that makes their relationship interesting, right? Think, for example, Goku, Vegeta, when Vegeta started like switching sides on post Namek Saga and he's working for the gang, but he don't like Goku, but he's still there. You know what I'm saying? Or Sasuke after he switches up on Madara and he's like, I'm joining the squad. I want to be a Hokage now. Think those relationships, right? I think this relationship though is my favorite out of any red oni, blue oni I've seen. Just because a smaller subcategory is the tiger and the dragon. And the tiger and the dragon is just, it's the yin and the yang, right? And it's the idea or the trope that these two characters that are different, even though they might not have anything to do with each other, or even if they do have anything to do with each other, right? They're intrinsically linked to like be rivals and to want to be better than the other. And I think a lot of red oni, blue onis kind of lose that as the show progresses, where like Vegeta kind of resigns himself like to being like, yeah, I guess Goku's gonna be stronger than me, or Sasuke's like, you know what, I understand, right? Well, in S. Cryad, right, Ryuho and Kazuma are characters that at no point stop to go, even I respect you, and therefore we do not have to fight, right? Like Ryuho and Kazuma, as the story progresses and they like mature and grow as characters, they still have that burning, intense hatred of one another, right? And as we get to the finale of the show, right, it comes to a point where these two characters want to fight, not for any disagreement in the story, not for any disagreement of like personal beliefs, but because truly they just want to know who's stronger. They just want to be better than the other one, because there's just that line, that thread just linking them, just spiritually, right? Where I have to see you across from me every day. You are me. We might be different, right? Ryuho came from everything. Ryuho came from a rich family. He was born with his powers. He has been blessed with everything, right? He's never had to lose anything in his life. While Kazuma has fought for everything. The guy on the right, the guy on the left, the red guy. He's the red oni in this situation. You probably knew that because he's a red. You know what I'm saying? They're red and blue, as the trope says. But he's fought for everything in his life. Even his power has taken something from him. He's always had things taken from him over and over again. And his selfishness is kind of what drives him to be the person that he is, right? And even as the story progresses, right, they kind of become the worst aspects that they hated of the other person. Well, like, Kazuma starts to run from his feelings and starts to try to protect the people around him by isolating himself, right? While Ryuho eventually becomes more emotional and starts to experience loss and starts to empathize with the feelings of Kazuma. And even then, right, after they can finally empathize with one another and they can understand the struggles that we're going through and try to understand each other as people, they finally come to an understanding. And even after that, I might respect you, but you and me, we gotta fool one another. We gotta get this off our chest because I don't like you and you don't like me. I'll respect you. You are my rival, but we are rivals at the end of the day, right? And I think a lot of shows, especially shonen shows, kind of always like champion like friendship over everything, right? But at the same time, right? As a basketball fan, you know, as somebody who has grown up knowing about Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, my family is a Laker household, right? To be great, to be the best, you gotta have like a psychotic level of confidence, a psychotic amount of it, that thing that makes you special, right? And I think these two have that like psychotic, I want to be the best energy. That I need to be better than you. I need to dominate you. If I see you coming down the lane, I'm hard fouling you. Every time I see you, I'm coming at you with everything I have. And these two, even if after the respect, right? Even after I see you, I know that you're doing it. I know what you've been through. I understand your feelings, right? That doesn't mean I don't want to be better than you. And I think it's just that is never lost, right? Also, I kind of want to talk about just their powers and the premise of the show a little bit, just to kind of explain why I think they're so good in the first place. Kazuma is a character where his power is a part of him. It's just his arm, right? Which is like, that's super shonen, right? That's super like, oh, metal. But it's that way because he accepts that part of him, right? He accepts that is who he is, and his entire life has been fighting. So as a result, like, the art and the design kind of made his power to reflect that, right? While Ryuho has really never accepted that side of him, right? He's never accepted that, like, that power is a part of him, and as a result, like, his power is a sentient being that has like conscious thought and is separate from him because he hasn't really been able to like think or feel for himself in the longest time because he's kind of been repressing his feelings, right? And Ryuho's development kind of shows his power going from a separate entity who thinks for itself to something that like is more exposed and open to the world and eventually becomes a part of him. Well, Kazuma has always embraced his power. So instead of his power kind of reflecting who he is, it keeps taking away from him and eating at his like physical body because he's still giving up part of himself for that strength. Because his character has never been about being powerful, but it has been about giving up the things that he loved for the power to protect more. And those two kind of coming to understand each other hinges on Ryuho understanding what loss actually feels like and accepting that part of him, and Kazuma learning not to run away from his feelings and learning that like who he is and who he was is just how he should live his life. And it's by those ideals that he has become the person that the people that he lost loved in the first place. That's it. If you like, subscribe, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to make this video. Love you. Have a wonderful day.